Now we are on chapter number 9, which is about more on function visibility. The code in our previous lesson has a mistake. If you are trying to compile it, the compiler will throw an error. The issue is we tried to calling it in the zombie function from within zombie feeding. But kzombie is a private function inside zombie factory. This means none of the contract that inherit from zombie factory can access it. So basically the private variables cannot be called outside the class, sorry, outside the contract. So here we are creating calling the create zombie. It will throw an error if we going to just call it, uh, if we just trying to call it from here, it will just give you error. Okay, let's let me show you some example here uh, by running it in Remix IDE. Here it is, uh, remix.ethereum.org is a browser-based IDE for Solidity smart contracts. Now let's create a contract here. Get a folder, contracts. Now create a new file. Uh, Visibility, sorry, make it the same name as this one, zombie factory dot sol. Just deleting this file. Okay. Let's copy the code here and now create a new file, zombie feeding.sol. Zombie feeding.sol. Now let's paste it here. Okay, so that might be the compiler error. Just change the compiler version to 0.57. Okay, so here it is. As we compile it, you can see that it's just give you an error here. It says that undeclared identifier, means that this function is not found here. Now let's make it public and now run it. So here it is. Now it is accessible inside this drive contract. So that's what here is being written that the code in previous lesson has a mistake. If you are trying to compile it, compiler will throw an error. The issue is we tried calling the kernel function from within the zombie feeding, but underscore create zombie is a private function inside zombie factory. This means none of the contract that inherit from zombie factory can access it. Internal and external. In addition to public and private, Solidity has two or more types of visibility for function, internal and external. Internal is the same as private, except that it can be accessible to contract that inherit from the contract. Here it turns out what we want here. So then another keyword is external, similar to public, except that these function can only be called outside the contract. They cannot be called by other function inside the contract. We'll talk about why you might want the use of external versus public later. For declaring internal or external function, the syntax is the same as private and public. Okay, here's the private variable, then is the function, internal, mark as an internal, then we are here in the beacon return. Here we are just incrementing the variable and calling this function eat. Now we can call this function because it's internal. Here we can also see the example. Here is private, so you will see the error if I change it to internal. And now let's run it. Yes, we can use the internal variable, internal keyword function inside our drive class. So put it to the test, change assembly to the private to internal. Okay, now let's change it to internal. Okay, so our contract can access it. We already focused you back to proper tab from 50 as well. Okay, so here it is. Now let's check it. Let's So we have checked the different visibility of the function in this chapter. Now let's move on to chapter number 10.